Jamie Vaughn, and we are here with our next episode of How She Got There. And today's guest is all the way from Australia, but a new transplant to Nashville, Angela Chan. Hi, Angela.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Well, you are our very first in-person interview here. We will get you a new studio soon, but we were so excited to have you in Nashville and have you come in that we wanted to bring in as quickly as possible and talk to you. Tell us about where you're from, and I'd love to hear what you wanted to be when you grew up so that we can kind of show where you are now.
Yep. So I'm from Australia and I moved to Nashville about a year ago, so it's still kind of fresh and new. I'm getting to know the southern vibe and the cuisine and line dancing and the country music and city vibes. So it's been really eye-opening being here. I've made some really great friends, and I know that Nashville is a city that's growing rapidly. My trusty Uber drivers say that 100 people are moving to Nashville every day, so
Correct.
It's been really nice actually meeting other people who are also in the same boat as me. Coming from Australia, this was where I landed as kind of like my first launch pad. So I got here with the company that I work for, Schneider Electric, and they're based in Franklin. And as a kid, I've always wanted to travel, explore the world. That was always my dream. So I was really, I guess I saved a lot, worked a lot when I was at school and also at university. So I did a lot of travel when I was in university. So I did around 30 countries over 3 years whilst I was studying, and I just loved it so much. So that was my dream and aspiration, and finally I'm moving somewhere different, and that's been definitely a goal of mine.
How's that been for your family? I know my mother would die.
Yeah, my mom's just like calling me all the time, sending me her food pictures, so.
So what's been your favorite part about Nashville since moving here a year ago?
I think my favorite part is just being connected in like the tech and entrepreneurial ecosystem. I think for me coming here, it was such a big part of my life at home, and knowing that there was a community here was just so comforting as well. What I really enjoy is just going out to all the bars and like listening to music and going to a concert tonight. So that's super exciting. So There's still like a lot to do here, even though I've been here for a year.
Yeah, I always say and tell people that if you get bored in Nashville, it's your own fault, because there's something to do constantly here, and you'll never look at music the same way either, because you'll go somewhere else and you're like, it's not very good, and they're probably like the best person in town, but Nashville has a whole higher standard of a musician. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. Did you always start off career-wise wanting to be in tech?
Not at all. I didn't even know what tech was. I didn't know what the difference between tech or IT was. I guess like when I first went to my first hackathon after university, I'd been trying to look for jobs, like hundreds of jobs. I was working part-time or casually at a lot of organizations, but I just really wanted to get into something. And then I was at Cancer Council for New South Wales, and they help people who are going through the cancer process, and also supporting their support network, like their friends and family. And I saw this massive need to help a lot of charity organizations. So I approached one of my friends and I was like, I think I have a solution to help with these charity organizations, but it requires developing an app and something technology related. And so she said to me, Angela, one of my friends is running a hackathon. There's some tech skills that you might need to learn about. You don't really learn business, so maybe learn a little bit about that as well, and just flesh out your idea, meet people who are in the same boat. So I was like, sure. So I went to that. I found out what technology was. I think what to me was the light bulb moment is to see like technology as an enabler to a lot of different solutions. So I was in my jobs doing public relations in like food and lifestyle, like helping people get wings through Red Bull, and I was like going, okay, why am I doing that when I can use my time in a more effective way to really help people and to make a difference? So that's how I got into the tech world, you could say. I met people who were, I think like the head sponsor was like Samsung, so I understood, got some exposure to the executive team, got to pitch to the judges, and so I think a lot of people in that room were also doing great things, like doing gaming, in education, using technology as a provider, helping develop apps for safety of truck drivers. So a lot of that was just like mind-blowing for me, and I knew at that point I needed to pivot my career.
So, as somebody myself who knows really nothing about technology, and that's why I'm interviewing all of you amazing women to learn about it more, how do you use your hackathons? Because when I hear the word hack, I'm thinking somebody going in, sitting in a room, hacking into a computer system, trying to gain information. And you are now the CEO, along with working at Snyder Electric, the CEO of Hackathons International. What is different about that the regular layperson watching this is going to go, I think I want to get involved in that?
Yeah, so many people are definitely in the same mindset of you, like going, okay, how do we hack into these systems? But what I learned throughout the hackathon process is that hacking essentially is the quick implementation of ideas, and a lot of technologists use that methodology. So for example, Google, Facebook, Atlassian, like big companies use hackathons as a way for their people to explore ideas, to implement new solutions, to quickly come up with a solution or a feature that they can implement straight away. And so just using that time and space, usually over like a 2-day duration, just gets you in the door, like thinking about, okay, like I have these ideas formulating in my head, but for me to actually give it a go, put it into action, and to show it to some people in your organization. That's how things like the Facebook like button became something. Facebook Marketplace, for example, came from a hackathon. So there's all these little things like what I say, like two outcomes are the products and the people. So the products being, those little solutions that we see on a day-to-day basis, but it's also around the people development as well, because during this process you're thrown into the deep end. You're like, oh my goodness, how do I add photos, create containers and all that kind of thing. And so there's a lot of like personal and professional development out of it as well.
So you're having your very first one here in Nashville in March, and we're excited to help you get the word out on that. If somebody wanted to sign up, what would they need to know, and then what would they expect for that day or two to be like for them?
Yeah, so the whole objective of the hackathon is to promote the tech talent that we have here, whether you're kind of thinking about getting into tech or whether you're trying to upskill yourself. Some ways that I think coming in, I think one of the key things is like always understand the objective of the hackathon. So for this one, for us, it's promoting the talent, but also helping the underserved and minority groups that we have here. So when I always say to a bunch of people, if you're looking for a hackathon, really understand what the values and the objectives are of the hackathon. Also see who's sponsoring the hackathon. So here we've got Amazon, who they've moved here already. So we've got the option of going to their new headquarters in Nashville, and also Meharry Medical College. And they're one of like the oldest African American hospitals and medical colleges around the US. So I think with like understanding the social determinants of health and seeing how we can really bridge the gap, those will be the key things. In terms of what to expect, you don't need any prior knowledge to go to a hackathon. I think when I first went to my first hackathon, I didn't know anything about technology. I was just like, right, I'm here to help support a charity organization. Like, I think the theme of it is like, how do we help not-for-profit organizations? And so for like in your head, when you're approaching this, I would say have a curious and open mindset. If you have a passion for these topics, definitely come on board. And what you'll expect is you'll probably like come to this hackathon, you'll meet people that you probably will never meet. A lot of the time we kind of get stuck in our bubble, work for organizations. And I could normally say if you worked for a company for 6 to 8 months, you kind of like drink the Kool-Aid. So if you kind of go in there, have an open mindset, meet some people that you normally don't meet. Whether you do have a technology background or not, we normally have a session where we get everyone into teams, and we normally have the hustler, the hipster, and the hacker. So hustler being more like the business person, someone who can pitch an idea, can understand the problem. The hipster is more the creative person, so someone who can look into the customer journey, like look at the visual elements and be creative into how, you know, this solution can be put into the customer's hands, and, you know, what is the kind of customer satisfaction as well. And then the hacker, which is the person who creates that really rapid prototype or developing a feature that could really help society. So I think whether you do come in with some knowledge, that's awesome, like go for it. We'd love to have you there. If you're still new to this, we definitely need you there as well, because what I found when I went to my first hackathons was that it was all full of coders and programmers. They knew how to solve problems, but they didn't have the industry expertise or the problems or the ideas. So they all kind of went swarming to me, and I was like, whoa, like this is a bit intense, but awesome. Like there is a need for everyone. And I think the key thing, and someone in my team just said this to me yesterday, is that hackathons are a way to embrace everyone's uniqueness, and everyone's uniqueness in terms of your background, where you come from, or your experiences that you have, or everything that's in your head that contributes to innovation. Innovation is value that adds change. So it's all that collaboration, and being curious is what we definitely endorse.
So at the end of all of this, you have all of these teams who've come up with all of these different ideas. Do they share them with everybody?
Yeah, so we have a showcase right at the end. So we've got a panel of judges. We normally have a showcase where we ask all the teams to record a presentation. So we normally say a pitch and a prototype. So a pitch is telling us why you've developed what you've done. And then the prototype is a demonstration of a feature. We're not a startup weekend. We don't expect you to create a business, but if you can say, hey, this is what we've developed over the past 2 days, that 4-minute video presentation, we'll share that around. The judges will ask some questions as well, and then there's some prize money as a add-on as well. So yeah, I think for us, we definitely want everyone to be speaking to one another, to be cheering on one another. There's always going to be like failures and learnings. We call it learning, so having fun whilst learning. So I think for us, it's kind of like a way where we can engage with one another, and if there's potential to carry on with the solutions, awesome. But we also do want to see how we can develop there's a huge tech gap where we are. So, and I think that's around the world as well. Yeah. So just bridging that and upskilling each other through this shared open environment.
So anybody that's won your hackathons, have they gone on and actually developed their products?
Yeah, there's been so many. I know, like back at home, there's an organization called Generation Entrepreneur. And so what they do is they target high school students who want to get into entrepreneurship. So that came up out of one of the hackathons. We've actually done some Amazon hackathons back at home with Alexa, which is like all around voice. So a lot of those have been put onto the App Store, which has been really exciting. And a lot of these people have also spoken at conferences at Amazon. So it's been like very enriching to see that people have done a lot out of this. I've got so many friends who I've made over hackathons who run businesses now, do consulting as well. So it's just really inspiring to know that everyone's championing this. And what I normally find is that a lot of people at hackathons are constant learners. So whenever you go to a hackathon, you kind of expand your horizons. And then I've just, over the years, so I've been doing this since 2014, running Hackathons Australia, and then now Hackathons International. And I've seen people like run the head of innovation at like big organizations, like I don't know if you like big supermarket brands, or like the Kroger version, or like the Walmart version here, and as well as like a lot of buildings. So it's just really enriching to see people develop over time.
Now, we don't have a lot of women in tech. How do you think we get more involved?
So funny you say that, because the hackathon, the reason why we chose it to be on March 12th and 13th is that it's the weekend right after International Women's Day. So we definitely, I think, in this space and ecosystem, I remember when I first started going to hackathons almost 10 years ago, I was like, in a group of 100, there will be maybe 2 or 3 girls, and literally it'll be me and my friend live and maybe like someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of the time it's just putting, if there are role models, if there are people out there that people can aspire to and to listen to stories, I think that's one key thing. The second thing is mentorship. So if you see someone out there and I see it right now, there's been such a change over the past like decade, if not even the past 5 years, where there's, you know, lots of movies out there, you know, about like amazing women. So I think like mentoring just people around you, they don't have to be younger than you, they don't have to be, you know, you don't have to say that, you know, I've got more expertise than someone else, but I think it's more the encouragement and the support of one another. I know what I do is that I normally have a small group of like, say, women who I know in technology and entrepreneurship, and back at home I used to run some weekend ways where we like come together. We all used to, you know, we all did our own thing, but we said these were our goals, and on like Friday nights and Saturday nights we'll just like talk, share, and then if we needed anything, then we would ask questions in an open and safe space. And I think that to me is like one of the key things. So if you are struggling, it's always good to find other people in the same boat as you, and, you know, be vulnerable and see how you can help one another.
Yeah. Now, if somebody wants to do the hackathon here in Nashville, how do they get involved? Where do they go?
Yep, so where you can go is you can go on our website. So it's www.hackathonsinternational.com/HackTN, so Hack Tennessee. Okay. So you can just go on that. You can also follow us on Facebook, it's just Hackathons International, Twitter, HackINTL, or Instagram, or LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a big thing, so we do have, you know, the event page and everything, so hopefully if you just like Google it, something will come up.
Yeah.
If not, feel free to contact me and I can definitely send you all the details.
Okay, last question. What inspires you?
I think for me, what inspires me is just like seeing how we can make a difference in the next wave of people in technology and entrepreneurship. Like for me, I know my core values are always making a difference on the world and being curious. Those have been like my long-standing ones for at least for the past 5 years. So I think like that would be it. Yeah.
Well, Angela, we're so excited that you brought this here to Nashville, and we get to go and play at it as well and come up with ideas. And so best of luck. And everyone, if you are interested, make sure that you go to Hackathons International to find out more. Thanks.